everyone, welcome to another episode of Alona's Show and Tell. So I've got some more books to show you today, so let's get into it. We're going to start with some beginner books because it's a topic that we get asked for a lot. You know, people wanting to know where to start their family history, and if you're after a book, we can certainly help you. So the first one I'm showing you is Where Do I Start? Researching Your Family History in Australia and New Zealand. It's available as a printed book and as an ebook download. Written by Shauna Hicks, a well-known Australian speaker, author, and a researcher as well. And she has written a nice, good, basic guide divided into steps, and you just sort of follow through the step-by-step. You know, going from looking at the records that you have at home to finding certificates to finding if others have researched it, how to use the archives, and you know, social media and so on. So that's a really good getting started guide. But if you're wanting something a little bit more, there is another one, and this one's called Family History for Beginners and Beyond. This has been around forever. It's now in its 16th edition that came out last year. It's published by the Gould Genealogy Society of Canberra, and it covers all the basics, but it also covers a little bit more than what Shauna does. So it goes into you know, migration and convicts and Indigenous history, passenger lists, birth, death, marriages, and military records, wills, and so on. 300 odd pages in this, so it is you know, a good getting started, but does take you a lot, you know, beyond just the getting started part as well. So family history for beginners and beyond. Now the next one I'm showing you is Pathfinders, a history of Aboriginal trackers in New South Wales. It's a book that I have never seen a book on this topic before because there has never been one written, but it is a really important topic, you know, particularly for Indigenous history, but also for Australian history. As there was over 1,000 trackers in New South Wales alone, mostly men, but there were a few women as well, and over 200 New South Wales police stations actually used Aboriginal trackers, and they were used to not only just find convicts who'd escaped, but they also found stock that had wandered, horse stealers, kids that had been, you know, lost in the bush and so on. So yeah, they were an incredibly useful part of Australian history. So this is their story. The last one I have for you is pandemic. I know, topical, isn't it? But this is the Spanish flu pandemic, just over 100 years ago, when it hit Australia in 1918 and through to 1920. And I have to say, after reading this myself, it is actually really, really weird, the number of similarities between the current pandemic and this previous one. But anyway, over 15,000 people, Australians, confirmed died from this, and but many more were obviously incapacitated, but did eventually, you know, get well. But this is the Australian experience, the people and the medical staff and so on, and just even down to the similarities between the states fighting over closed borders, the facilities available to be used and so on. It's a really intriguing story. So if you don't know the history of the Spanish flu in Australia, and you know, your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, you know, would have been living through this. So it's just an interesting part to actually learn and understand another part. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. So thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and before I go, I just wanted to ask if you have any requests on what you'd like to see shown. Feel free to put that in the comments below, and we'll see what we can do for you. But if you like this video, like, subscribe if you're watching it on YouTube, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.